And then the rest of it, because sometimes it'll be like a British woman. I'm like, I don't need that, you know. So
JT, we good?
Yep.
Oh, we're rolling. All right. Well, I'm glad we stopped talking about that weird shit.
Yeah.
A legend. Yeah.
I
just said some super weird things, man. I'm glad we were aired on that part. All right, so we're just getting ready. So Juan and I have this podcast. It's called Real Talk. We have a special guest, Mr. Jason Stoops, in the house.
Jason.
Hey, how are ya?
I don't know if you guys can see on the camera, but Jason's the only realtor in the industry that makes me feel short.
It's true. I'm like, oh, Jason, what, 6'4"?
6'6".
6'6"?
Yeah,
oh,
pretty big deal.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I'm like, we have to sit down at all times, Jason.
Yeah, sorry. I am an imposing force sometimes.
It was super scary. I was like, yo, I'll take the house. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, right.
Did you do football?
I did 1 year at University of Iowa. I tried to walk on.
Okay.
Was not going to make it. Coach Hayden Fry was the coach at that time. Okay. So he pretty much pulled me aside and said, hey, love your energy, but you're never going to see the field.
Oh, wow.
Damn. I didn't have a scholarship. No, I very much appreciated it because my grades were really suffering. It's tough being a college football player.
An athlete still, the academics. Yeah.
But instead, I went and played rugby. So I just shed the pads and drank a couple more beers on the sideline.
There you go, man.
Still got to hit people. So.
That's a tough sport too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Jason, how long have we known each other now, man? It's been a while.
Probably at least 7 or 8 years, I think. Probably when I first started.
I remember
just
that.
After I first started, like when I got licensed.
Outside of Geneva, right?
Yep.
Geneva, Illinois.
Wait, when did you get licensed? What year?
Let's see. I got licensed.
Like 18, 19?
No, in 2016. Actually, was when I was originally licensed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it has been a while. Holy shit. I mean, when I met him, he was like 6'3".
Just keep growing. What can I say?
It's a growing boy. Man, so wow, how's the journey, man? Talk to us. So you saw pre-pandemic, post-pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, when it came to like the market, if you're going to be good at anything you do, you always have to work at it. You know, my grandfather taught me you never sit on your reputation. You're always building your reputation. Because once you stop working towards yourself, that's when other people pass you by. Yeah. So I've always been hustling and trying to get business and providing just like a level of service that other people don't do. Yeah. So that's kind of how I try to stand out with that stuff.
That's awesome. So Jason also has a unique niche is sign language.
Yeah. Oh, really? I'm fluent in sign language. Okay. My parents are both deaf. So I'm fluent in American Sign Language. So I grew up in a deaf household. Yeah. And so I do work with a lot of deaf and hard of hearing clients.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, being able to communicate on their level, I'm sure that's the same with a lot of other agents that speak Polish or Spanish or Russian or Hindi, being able to speak sign.
It's just that level of comfort, right?
It is. Definitely for the conversation ability. Because, I mean, how do you build bonds over a legal pad, writing questions and answers back and forth? Yeah. It's tough.
Or the translating app right over the phone or whatever. And
how does the community know that you do sign language? Is there a certain way like you share with I don't know, with
I mean, I'd say office? Word of mouth, but it's word of hand, actually. Okay. So no pun intended. Gotcha. Actually, definitely pun intended. Yeah, pun intended. It's the deaf community is a very close-knit community. Yeah. It's kind of a 2 degrees of separation versus 6 degrees of separation. Okay. I'm also affiliated with the Chicago Hearing Society in downtown Chicago, so I offer my my expertise and knowledge and support to them as well. Yeah. But a lot of it is who you know, as in any business. But when folks see like, oh, Jason knows sign language, I'm comfortable with someone speaking sign language, so then they go that route.
I think closing a client like that at that level is even more rewarding.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, it is, especially because a lot of times they've experienced frustration in dealing with a non-sign speaking agent. Yes. And it's not their fault or anything. And I'm sure they tried to provide the highest level of service also. But when I'm able to communicate freely and kind of have a quiet conversation with them while in front of other agents or something, that's just a level of comfort and trust that they give you as well.
Right.
That's super cool, man. I think that's fascinating. I mean, being a bilingual team, that helps. Mm-hmm. It really does.
Definitely.
So off air, Jason and I were talking about the game last night. So we're a little hungover. We're doing some celebrating.
Yeah. Well,
we're doing some celebrating.
Man, that was just insane how the Bulls came back at the end. Man. I mean, against the Lakers.
What was it, 12.9 seconds? That was like a wild ending.
Yeah, we're up. We're down 5. We're down 5 and 12.5. And Patrick Williams hits that corner 3 because LeBron doubled and he should have stuck with his guy. Then LeBron threw the lazy pass.
That got picked off.
Giddey stole it.
And then Kobe White
hit the 3. And
Kobe.
They ended up getting a layup, but still, nobody thinks you're going to have court shots.
But you're talking about with 2 seconds left. Yeah. The Lakers regained a lead.
Yes.
With the layup.
And they totally played back on their heels. They weren't D'ing up.
Yeah.
They thought, like you said, the half court shot, he's not going to hit that.
Well, Austin Reeves was playing. He actually went to D up on Giddey. Then he saw the other guy, Patrick, open up. So he went to hit, and nobody helped. Nobody came to.
LeBron kind of tried. He kind of tried.
Put his hand up a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
Stephen A. Smith is going to crucify him.
Oh, yes, he should. I bet on the Lakers, so LeBron owes me some money. Yeah.
How much you bet?
Oh, not a lot, man. We bet 100 on it.
Okay. Nice.
But that was like a damn guarantee. They were up the whole game.
Yeah, especially they got blown out by 30 points. Lakers, I thought they were going to come back. They're going to have some revenge or something.
They're going to come back with some vengeance for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But nope.
Not so much. Well, all the Chicago teams won yesterday.
Yeah.
The Cubs won. The White Sox won.
Okay.
The Bulls
Are they still in the game?
Well, I mean, technically they're eliminated from the playoffs already, but
right out the gate.
Sorry, White Sox fans.
That's all right. So alumni is Iowa, and then after this, you're heading back.
Yeah, I'm going back to the University of Iowa in Iowa City this evening. I'm seeing a bunch of my former fraternity brothers and the current members and stuff, but also just, enjoying the campus. I brought my daughter there recently to do a campus visit, my youngest.
Okay.
So that was fun. I don't know if she's going to go there to my alma mater, but it was great being back there.
That's
I love that
cool,
campus.
Man.
She doesn't hear about any of the stories though, right?
She hears the sanitized version.
That's offline talk.
Yeah,
offline talk.
Yeah, I pointed out where she should stay away from. Let's just say,
don't go here.
Nope.
So, man, we actually love Iowa. Iowa's very similar to Illinois, right? Tax prorations.
Yeah.
Have you considered about getting licensed there?
I haven't really thought about expanding into Iowa. Wisconsin and Northwest Indiana are kind of the natural areas to migrate to if you're in the Chicago
neighbors,
area. Yeah.
We're close neighbors.
Yeah. But I mean, Iowa, mainly the Quad Cities has been a drawing area, it seems.
Yeah. How far is that drive? Is that like 8 hours?
To Iowa City?
Yeah.
No. From here, like from where we're at right now, it'll take me 3.5.
Oh.
It's like 220 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. So it's easy, just straight 88 to 80. And Iowa City's right off of 80.
Cruise control, you're good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's no problem.
All right, so Jason. All right, so I'm excited for this. So we have a wheel that we spin.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 questions. If you answer, we all drink with you. If you don't want to answer, no big deal, but you take a penalty shot.
Okay.
And then after that, man, we'll just talk about what you got going on.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Do the honors.
All right.
See what we land on here. This mic is all messed up today.
What do you get? What
would you do with $1 million this weekend?
Oh, man. Well, going to Iowa City. I mean, it's funny because, like the economies of scale is so different from a college town to like downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, geez, $100 in Iowa City can pay for me.
That's a round.
That's
rounds.
Yeah. Rounds and rounds.
On me.
Yeah. But in Chicago, that's a couple of drinks for the table of 4,
Man, you get like a penthouse suite in Chicago and you blow it all weekend, man.
Yeah. But if I had it like, okay, so this weekend we'll use it if I'm going to Iowa City and having fun with the alumni. I would probably see what was necessary for my newly established fraternity house, what they would need for the house, whether it's maintenance, upkeep, upgrades.
That's some sweet stuff. Some selfish things. What else you got? We would donate to the alumni.
Yeah, well, not all of it, but I would definitely, let's see, probably right after this, I'd go and buy a new truck.
There you go.
Get like a big...
I feel like if I was going to Iowa, I would be like, all right, we're going to helicopter in. We're not driving 3.5 hours.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Bring your crew from here.
Yeah.
Or charter a jet, maybe doing that, because Iowa City has its own little airport, like DuPage, DuPage Airport. So get a cool little private jet.
Oh my God, you would get like the whole state wasted with $1 million.
Seriously, right?
That's different.
Yeah. So.
buy a bunch of investment properties out there too, man.
Yeah, I would probably look into that also. Like there's always going to be a steady flow of college students coming through.
Always.
So
I mean, apartments are building
for rental,
and for the longest, you're going to have them for 4 years. So you get a little more beaten up, though. Of course, I mean, I know how beer stained and cigarette burned a lot of carpets I've visited with house parties were.
I was thinking about doing that because my daughter goes to NIU, so they have a lot of little properties over there, and it's it's right there, a little town.
Why
so
not?
They rent. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if your kid's going to live off campus, sometimes you're offsetting that rent that you're giving them to pay with actually building equity in a property. So why not equitize that?
Yeah.
And
I would love to do that, but I know I would be like kind of questionable because I would only want to probably rent to women. Because these dudes are going to just ruin your shit. Right?
Yeah.
They're just going to trash it, party and stuff. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a wall here. Right?
Break punched into a new doorway for me. Thanks.
For no reason on a Tuesday night. Man. Jeez. All right. Well, let's drink to that.
Yep.
All right.
Jet Wild Weekend in Iowa. Cool. And it is also tradition. Mr. JT drinks with us.
He does the first one.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Well, just cheers to you guys.
Salud.
Cheers.
All right. Very nice. Yes.
Jason picked tequila.
I did. I picked tequila. I mean, I like it. No training wheels.
He's like,
hair of the
It's
dog.
all good,
right?
man. It's all good. All right, let's do another spin.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to hold it this time because.
Yeah, we got to screw it in or something.
Yeah.
All right. So it's that green one.
Yeah, green one.
If you could start your career over, what would you do?
A new one.
Oh, so like if I could be anything type thing?
Yeah.
So originally my passion was to be a veterinarian.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Like I love the animals. I grew up having pets and I had rabbits and dogs and cats and gerbils and hamsters and I had a snake for a short while too. But I also worked for a couple different veterinary offices when I first was in high school as well. That was my after school job and before school. So I'd go in, I'd get up at like 5 a.m., go in, let out the dogs, feed the cats and dogs, and then go to school and then go afterwards after my sports and do the same. Yeah. So I just wasn't smart enough. It's tough. I mean,
you got to go to school. Yeah.
Veterinary colleges are fewer and farther between than regular medical schools.
Yeah.
Whereas you have to know, like, not only dog, cat.
Yeah, you got to be like a surgeon. Like.
Well, you got to know pigs and cattle and horses and chickens and like.
That's a range.
Think of everything because it's not just pets.
Yeah, when you put it in that perspective, I don't know if I could have.
It was hard. Yeah.
Do you have pets now?
No, I don't personally have any pets.
Okay.
My girlfriend has a dog, so we
love dogs.
Have that. Me too. So, but
that's all I would ever do. By the way, I would do like turtles, pigs.
Well, we used to have cats. My daughters had a rabbit. I think a rabbit's the wasted pet of anyone ever having. Really? I mean, it's. You can't play with a rabbit, So it's
so what do you do? You kind of like admire it?
It's just a cute pet.
It looks cute,
right?
That's
Yeah. So.
Same thing with a bearded dragon. My son has a bearded dragon, and all it does is just sit.
I have no idea what that even means. A bearded dragon. Can we answer what that is?
A bearded dragon.
Yeah, it's a lizard.
Yeah, a lizard.
I mean, there's.
I was not that kid. I hated lizards. I didn't want no pet snakes. I didn't. Yeah, I'm good.
So sometimes he'll put it on here, on the shoulder, and pet it a little bit. Then put it right back in his tank.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. No, I'm not interested.
Well, we were just at this cross country incentive trip. And they brought out this snake at the pool party, and they're like, "Oh, take a photo." I'm like, "Who wants to do that?" They're like, "Doug, it's a one in a lifetime experience." I'm like, "No, it's not. I promise you, it's not."
Was it a python or like a big thick one?
It's probably a constrictor.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a rattlesnake or something.
Yeah. I ended up doing it because I lost a bet. I was like, "I'll do it." So the marketing girl, Caroline, actually, we'll tag her. She was like, "Do it." And I was like, no. They're like, are you scared? I was like, yeah, I'm not too. Yes, absolutely.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not too tough to admit that. So I was like, I'll do it if you kiss it. Next thing I know, she kisses the snake. Oh my god,
wow.
So I had to put the big ass snake on me, and you see me just like like fucking teardrops is coming down my face.
I gotta get that picture now.
Yeah, seriously, right?
No, I'll share it with JT. We'll post it.
Right. I mean, Doug's scared. I don't see it that often.
Well, just a snake. Other than that,
Fearless.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Snakes and spiders, man.
Yeah, spiders.
I don't know. I remember that cicada scaring you a little bit.
I didn't know we were going to talk about that.
Nice.
The cicada, they're just dropping on you and shit. Like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah, dive bombing you, and they latch on to you and stuff too.
Yeah,
no, thanks.
It
was pretty bad.
Dude, like the Harlem Shake for no reason. Like, it's crazy. All right, let's take another drink.
All righty.
This delicious tequila.
Yep. All right.
Tequila Blanco.
Salud.
Salud. Yeah, we've been talking about Jason getting sponsored by some liquor companies.
Be a great idea. We need that.
God damn, tequila.
Get some brands or get a local, get Benny's, or you can get Lundine's Liquors to support you. That's my aunt and uncle's chain that they own out in St. Charles and Sycamore.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. So they got a great, 3 stores. They just opened a tasting room at their Sycamore place as well, which is really awesome. Yeah.
I would love a private label.
They do something like that. I mean, they do they get to choose their own barrel and stuff. And I mean, not just from Jim Beam. I think they have that, but not to say that's a horrible brand, but they get to do Buffalo Trace and, other off brands that are kind of the higher quality and stuff. So
let's talk to them.
Yeah, I think we should. At this point,
that's great.
Then we got these fucking brands.
Well, then we can always say sponsored by, and that's it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love
definitely. I'll hook you up with.
Please do. Yeah. That would actually be super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Let's do the last spin.
All right.
Let's see if we get something invasive.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
Penalty shot.
All right. Give us a client horror story.
Client horror story. How clean do I have to keep it?
We're uncensored, man. We don't do that.
Okay. Let's see. So
he's debating.
Do I want to share this one?
Well, I mean, a lot of times folks have to realize, if you're listing your home for sale, if you're the owner, you have to put away certain personal items.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, not only the ones you're thinking of, in the sexual way, but
that's where Fleitas' mind went.
Right. But also, I mean, I've seen drugs, I've seen cash, I've seen guns.
Well, that's just silly.
And it's just laying out. Somebody's coming into the house.
Why would you leave that?
Yeah. So, I just going into a room first before the kids go in, to find certain items.
Leave a gun out. That's just reckless.
But that's crazy that you have to tell somebody that, I don't know, you're selling your house and you got people that's going to come in. And,
I'm not trying to be hurtful, but I'm just how do you even qualify to buy a house if you don't got that common sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
crazy.
I mean, it is crazy. And I mean, I had one time where I was bringing a client into a home and there was a bedroom in the basement, and I went in and opened the door, and there had to have been over 10 grand in cash, laid out on the bed, not organized.
It's a bonus for you.
Right. No.
That's where the commission came from.
But when I see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, so I just grabbed a shirt and threw it over the top of it. I don't want to scoop it up. I don't know. I'm not putting my fingerprints on anything, but just seeing stuff like that.
That's a good horror story. I haven't ever thought of that.
Maybe it was a test.
And nowadays,
before we do our agent agreement,
everything's being recorded and videoed now too. So
that's true. I don't know if you got the video cameras. Huh? That's insane.
That's crazy. Crazy.
What about us on our side? Do you have a crazy story?
Yeah, when I started out as a broker, it's a horror story for my client because obviously this deal was just very hard to begin with, but they were trying to close it on a Friday at 4:30.
Yeah.
Back then, the closer had to be there and they had to review all the documents, right? And the closer just checked out on us. So this client already had rented out. They already had movers coming in the next day. So we had a dry fund, and the seller's like, no, we're not funding till Monday. You can't come into the house.
Oh, man.
So I just went from a great closing to
this is a bad experience.
This horrible experience because of that. And we were brokering out to a bank, so I couldn't have access. I tried to call our rep, and I still remember that to this day, how they looked, how they looked. They looked like, I don't know, like somebody beat them up. dejected, right? So
yeah. Well, especially when you get so excited about moving into a new place or moving out of a place, and now you're thinking, okay, all my stuff is in a truck.
Yeah.
You know, I have to stay at a hotel this weekend. You know, and especially if you have pets or kids along with that too.
What you call that? A dragon something? What was that pet?
What's the bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon.
Yeah, where are you going to put that? You know, Holiday Inn.
Where's that lizard going to go?
That.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I felt horrible for them, and I tried to make it up to them and whatever they needed. And, you know, I had visited them when they had moved in and stuff like that. So, but still, you can't replace that experience, the bad experience they had. So it just kind of follows you, and it sucks because I have control.
You get unnecessarily linked to that bad experience too. That's kind of what I.
And you have like nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so one thing I try to do to avoid those things on my end is like when, you know, you do your final walkthrough.
Yeah.
If it's my listing, I will do a preliminary final walkthrough. So I'll go in first, you know.
That's smart.
And, you know, I had like this walkthrough bingo where I'll go with people and before we go in with my buyers and I'll be like, all right, what do you think we're going to find here? You know, and
that's fun.
And they're like, you know, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you know, I think, you know, what's your top three? Well, there's going to be coat hangers. There's going to be a Tupperware container and let's say a toilet brush, you know, and they'll be like, oh, I get it. Okay. You know, like, how about, you know, a towel, a dirty bar of soap, and, you know, like,
that. I love that.
A rusty shovel, you know, so I always try to do that with my clients, but sometimes if you're going
have to steal that idea for our partners. Man. I love that. That's actually fun.
Yeah, it is fun, you know, and sometimes I get the kids involved too, because I mean, you know, they get to look through cabinets and everything.
How many times do you see stuff in the fridge?
Probably half.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, half
Any
the
good
time. Stuff? No, it's never like, you know, a bottle of Cristal or anything. I have seen like where like the seller may leave a bottle of champagne.
Okay. Yeah,
that's very rare, but very cool for them to do.
I actually had that for my personal house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, that was a great touch.
Yeah. So, or I'll leave a bottle for my clients as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, it's like, you don't want somebody else's frozen peas, you know, or ice, you know, it's like, you know, there's so much stuff, you know, it's funny because also no matter how clean a house is, if it's my buyer, I know they're going to clean. That's the first thing they always do. So I try to get them like a little like welcome gift of cleaning supplies because they're going to need it anyways.
That's a great closing gift. It's practical.
It's practical.
Amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of times, usually they give like a bottle of liquor, right? But that's more practical. I think it's a lot more useful than.
We have, I know one of our partner agents, they do like a free cleaning.
Yeah. Oh.
But they do it after moving.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So after they get all their stuff in?
Because they're like, all right, well, a lot of people clean as it's vacant. But then as you're moving everything in,
it gets dirty again.
Then I got to clean again.
Yeah. So true. That's a good idea.
There's some great practical ideas out there, man. So talk to us about, I don't think we've talked about this on the podcast yet, but all the movements, right, with the tariffs and all these things that could impact us in this industry with rates, inflation. What do you guys see this year? What's going on in the industry? Are we going to see good out of this, bad out of this? Where are we headed?
Well, I feel like we're still in a low inventory situation here.
Thank you for saying that.
You know, it's crazy, but
I feel it's
because a lot of people are rate locked.
Yeah.
You know, they feel they locked in at 3% when they kind of bought their starter home.
Sure.
And they have a lot of like good equity, profit margin in there now, but they don't want to trade in that 3% to get to a 6.5 or 7. So they're kind of paralyzed by that.
What's your guys' take on that?
I mean, they always try to come up the government tries to come up with like creative solutions to get the market moving. You know, we'll give you a $25,000 rebate or a $10,000 in closing credits. A lot of times that gets absorbed into the price then.
And stuff,
yeah. So it goes into a price where it's like, okay, you're kind of monkey trading it, you know? What I think would be a great thing, and they'll never do this, but I think like if they came up with a take your rate type program where they're like, hey, you know what? You got that awesome rate. We're going to charge you 1.25 to take it with you. So if you're at 3, now you're at 4.25. You know, so the banks kind of raise the floor a little bit. You still get a great rate.
You may be onto something. Maybe that's a great servicing attraction.
Awesome. Yeah, I just need to talk to some politicians and get ideas.
We do kind of have something kind of. You know, and I don't know if realtors are promoting this often enough, but the reality is FHA and VA is assumable. So if you get a new listing, you guys need to promote that. Hey, do you want that 3.25 interest rate? Call me and ask me how.
Yeah.
They don't know enough about it.
Is USDA assumable as well? No, just VA and FHA. Yeah, I mean, and those are great things. I did have a listing in Geneva one time where we were promoting that. However, one of the hard things is, how much equity are you buying out as a buyer?
Correct.
True.
And what's the difference you're going to have to bring?
Yeah, but if you're talking about all the homeowners, because all those rock bottom rates was from the pandemic years. We're not talking about a big difference right now, guys.
Yeah.
Right? So if you use the common sense to that, you're all good.
Well, and if you're downsizing and you're able to move that equity into your new property.
You just won.
Yeah. And you got a great rate. I totally agree. I do try to promote that.
Yeah.
It is a tougher thing for people to wrap their mind around, or they see it as a lot more steps.
But that's why you have to speak to experienced professionals, right?
Right.
Even right now, for whoever's watching this, they're like, what the hell are they even talking about?
Yeah.
Call us.
Yeah, definitely. Reach out, and you guys know better than anyone.
Yeah, and it depends on the bank, because I've heard some not great stories about doing the assumption, because sometimes it could take 60, 90 days sometimes.
Well, it depends on the servicer,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
It depends on the servicer. So smaller servicer, probably worse experience. Bigger services, hopefully they have already a team that does that, So,
right.
Yeah.
All right, so back to tariffs. What does that mean for us?
Okay, well, I mean, I feel like tariffs are probably going to impact the construction industry a lot more than the existing homes.
Yep.
Whether that's, lumber or potash from up in Canada. Potash is an additive to concrete.
Well, it's still aluminum. I mean, we're talking about so many different products that are
aluminum, copper, steel, but also appliances, carpet. Like there are so much things that are in a home that you don't realize are overseas.
100%. And I'm glad you said appliances, because that kind of goes over people's head. And we're talking about tariffs within our industry and our bubble, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of influence. I just think
the word is negative. So you say that, and then like negativity surrounds it, and then I think the market's volatile. So we could see the interest rates, dip down for a little bit and then go back up and then dip down. So I see it's going to go up and down this year.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think like one of the things like I just saw recently where like a Trump tariff would have been with Germany and their automobiles. Yeah. They hit a tariff of 10% on American cars going to Germany, but America only charges 2.5% on German cars coming to America.
So you're trying to balance it out.
So yeah, where's the equitization there? Where's the balance? So there is some fairness that should go into something like that.
I think the grand idea of it is meant well, right? You got to make sense of it. I mean, talking about Germany, I'm a nerd with this crap. So like you talk BMW, they're going to get hit and hurt, but Mercedes was actually ahead of the curve. They're building things in Alabama. Right. So they got this big old plant. So they're not dealing with the tariffs because they're building and employing Americans here. So there's going to be a lot of shift and different movements with that. If it brings back American jobs, that's great. If it makes everything more expensive, they're going to have to, deal with some short-term pain.
Well, I'd love to see them reshore a lot more of American jobs.
Yes.
Before I was a realtor, I was actually a headhunter.
Yeah.
And I worked mainly the industry was manufacturing and operations in the Chicago area. So I saw a lot of like machining, operations, for metal stamping and assembly and stuff go overseas, whether it was to the South American countries or Mexico or China or even into Africa. And hopefully we can reshore a lot of those jobs to, because I saw a lot with some of my clients was they were seeing that the cost went down, but the quality also went down.
Exactly right.
So their rejection and return rate, right. So they're like, well, yeah, it's cheaper to get it back, but now we're sending back 10% instead of 1% when we used to have it here. So, having it here in American Strong, that's what, they call it for a reason.
And if you actually really want to do your research, right? I mean, China got so many jobs because their labor cost was nothing, right? And then now that China's are increasing their labor costs, now they're almost shifting to Mexico, right? So you got these companies who are like, where's the cheapest labor?
Yep. Right. Well, it's going to India as well.
Yeah.
And
South American countries too.
Yep. So. Yeah. Well, they're trying to find the cheapest opportunity for it, but you have to pay for quality.
You can't
when
let
you buy
the quality
cheap,
go.
You buy twice. That's what my grandfather
You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's toast to that.
All right.
Last one.
Salud.
Cheers. See if I don't make a face. And I missed. I'm looking like LeBron out here.
Well, there's no one guarding it either. So
looking like LeBron out here. As you can tell, I'm not a big LeBron fan. All right, Jason, talk to us about what you got going on. Any new events, new listings? What can we expect from Jason in the coming months?
Well, yeah. So a lot of our business, I'm with the Kelly Schmidt group of Coldwell Banker.
Coldwell Banker, whoop, whoop.
Yep. So
Kelly Schmidt?
Kelly Schmidt.
Great team.
Yeah, great team. We have, we're expanding, we're growing. We just added a new part-time transaction coordinator on top of our full-time transaction coordinator.
That means
Shout out
they
to
are
Kendall.
busy. Congrats.
And we're adding a new social media person as well. Cecilia's coming on board shortly. Kelly is just a juggernaut out there in the western suburbs. Her name is synonymous with quality, and that's why I love working within that group as well. I provide a high level of service, and I know that's what we do within our team as well.
That's not a fucking saying. Guys, I'm talking about this man is preparing these listings himself.
Yeah.
If there's yard work to be done, you see him doing it.
I've done it. I mucked out a pond one time. That's why hashtag hands-on realtor, goes both ways, so hands-on being sign language.
Yeah.
And I pull weeds. I haul away trash. I recycle hazardous materials. I do above and beyond what
You
somebody
have to be
else
a
is gonna
value,
do.
and that's a value proposition he's bringing to his clients every time.
Yeah. I also reach things on high shelves, so I'm good to do that. Also,
He is 7'2", guys.
No, I wish not so much. 6'6",
He just grew up 6 inches.
Wow, that's
When I
amazing.
met him, he was 6'3", so he's a growing boy.
Yeah, but so we're developing a lot of other listings that are coming out in Elburn, Geneva, St. Charles, Batavia as well.
Yep.
We're expanding into Genoa and Sycamore and DeKalb and Cortland.
Just taking over
So
the
we're
west.
just taking out. Yeah, we're dominating that western edge of Kane County as well as expanding into DeKalb County as well.
I love it. And shout out Elburn Reeves. Missed that place.
Yeah.
Reams is. I was there yesterday getting some buffalo beef jerky. So
It's the best.
yeah,
That
it is
sounds good.
really
It's the
good.
best.
How many
And
is
their
that? I was going to ask you, how many on the team? Like how many total realtors?
Agents.
So
Yeah.
we have Cassie and Carla, Kelly and myself and Kendall. Kendall's an agent and our transaction coordinator. So there's 5 right
Let's
now.
go.
Nice.
So we're
Double
the top.
threat.
We're the
Love it.
top, like middle-sized team within our office out of St. Charles. So we're the top
Amazing.
producers for that.
What was that, the real estate group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tremendous group.
I'm going to ask you to do something.
Yes.
You're going to teach us something.
Okay.
How do we say think differently in sign language?
Okay.
We think
So
differently.
we think differently.
Yeah.
So you do this. This is W.
Okay, W.
So you go we think
think.
and then different. That's
Ooh.
differently.
So
let's go.
Let's do it again.
So we
We
think differently.
different.
That's an episode. Thank you so much, man.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
my pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you guys so much. It was great.
Cool, man.